This is a video of some of our adventures here at Yosemite National Park. Yosemite National Park is more than just the valley, which most people think of. It's also a high alpine environment, which you see in the background there. It's Tuolumne Meadows, which is filled with meadows and domes and creeks and rivers and ponds, in addition to the valley. And that's why we like coming here, is because we can do a variety of different activities. As the weather changes, we can go from the valley, which is at low elevation, up to the high alpine environment in the middle of summer where it's always cool. And we would just really enjoy it there. Down in the valley, most of the tourists come for the waterfalls. This is Yosemite Falls, flowing in the springtime. In the fall, it's just barely a trickle. What we're doing down in the valley is mostly climbing. Climbing in Yosemite Valley is mostly about climbing cracks. Cracks that go through overhangs and cracks that go up to the top of cliffs. And sometimes you have to stop in the middle of a crack and set up a belay. Most of the time we like to find ledges, but they're not too common in Yosemite. And here's Archie leading up a long series of cracks. It's about 200 feet of crack right there. Then one of the biggest adventures we did was a 1,000-foot cliff that was pretty much crack climbing the entire way. There's Archie shifting over from one crack to another. And we were able to get a short video of me coming up through the crux finger crack. What I'm doing here is actually putting my fingers in the crack, twisting them a little bit so that they jam real well. Now I'm trying to get out a piece of protection that got a little bit stuck. At any rate, that's the way you do it. Either jam your fingers, jam your hands, whatever you can do. Swinch your feet on the wall there like I'm doing, or maybe you can swinch it into the crack. But that's basically crack climbing. And here's Archie coming up. He's in a hand crack here. You can put your fist in there, jam up, and keep on going. Here I'm sort of waiting for Archie to get going, hanging on a nice belay there, sort of on my tippy toes. We climbed the higher spire. Once we got to the top, we had a beautiful view of the valley. It's just an exhilarating place for a rock climber to be. And here we had to rappel down. Usually we like to walk off, but this one we had to rappel. In Tuolumne, the climbing changes a lot. Mostly it's climbing on low angle faces. You're kind of smooching your way up, standing on little crystals, sometimes just frictioning your way up. Here we're on top of one of the domes overlooking Tenaya Lake. A beautiful area. Then one day we decided, well, let's break from climbing and do a backpacking trip. So we had to reorganize all of our gear, get the climbing gear put away, get the backpacking gear out. We laid out a 3-day trip, a loop through the mountains. We started out on trail, but planned to go off trail so as to avoid the crowds, which we did. We didn't see anybody for almost 3 days. We got up into some beautiful alpine territory, crossed slabs, walked beneath the most beautiful cliffs, near alpine lakes, through meadows. It was pretty chill in the morning. As a matter of fact, the first morning we got up, there was frost on the ground. I got up, started brewing a cup of coffee, wrapped my sleeping bag around so as to stay a little bit warmer. That's me just watching the pot boil, well, hoping it boils pretty quick. And here's Archie showing how it's done. Cup of coffee, gloves, down jacket, and your sleeping bag all tucked around you so you can enjoy your cup of coffee. During the backpacking trip, we usually stop about mid-morning and brew up another cup of coffee and have a little bit of a snack. We were lucky that up in the alpine environment, the flowers were still blooming. These are lupins, which are very common up there, and you can see great fields of them. This is heather, which usually grows around in some of the more moist areas. Really pretty. Well, anyway, I hope you enjoyed our little tour of some of our adventures in Yosemite National Park.